So one more key matchup that and you hope the 49ers can just run the Cowboys off the field and special teams don't matter. But or maybe Aubrey's had some sleepless nights and he's got these murder pictures painted in his head affecting his kicking. But you got one of the best kickers, if not the best kicker in the league right now. Fantastic return man, been good on special teams coverage units as well. It's the number one, according to DVOA, special teams in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys against the number 31 special teams for the San Francisco 49ers, who have let returns happen. Some weird stuff in the kicking game. Obviously, they're on their third kicker, and the kicking field goals hasn't even been the worst part of their special teams either. Yep. So, just last week it was just comical. The game ended on a Mitch Wisnowski, the punter, an onside kick attempt, and he almost completely missed the ball, and the ball is just spinning, and it went about 2 feet, and the entire team is just in there looking at this ball as the game is ending and they're losing, and it almost added some levity to that loss against the Kansas City Chiefs for the 49ers. So special teams has not been good. If this is a close game, obviously the third phases can be big, and that absolutely goes to the Cowboys here.
Yeah, the Cowboys have been awful on offense, awful on defense, but they got the best special teams unit in the league because they have a kicker that can kick. He can kick a 71-yard field goal. We've seen Mike McCarthy line up trying to have Brandon Aubrey kick a 70-yard field goal. He hit a 67-yard field goal back in week 1 with plenty of room to spare. But it's not just the field goal game that they're good at. They've kind of figured out this dynamic kickoff thing in terms of they're not kicking the ball back to the back of the end zone. Brandon Aubrey's done a really good job of bouncing the ball inside that landing zone, inside the 20-yard line, forcing teams to either down the ball, taking it at 20, or returning it. And the Cowboys coverage unit has been awesome. That is one area where I think the Cowboys might have an advantage. And then in the return game, I don't know. I'm sure nobody studies special teams on all 22. I get it. It's not that fun. But what the Cowboys have been doing in the return game is Kevontae Turpin, their main returner, takes the ball, and then they'll always have a looping returner on the other way. And Turpin will either toss it to him or he'll take it. It just freezes the entire kick return unit for a half second. And it's why he's leading the NFL in return yards this year.
I remember they lined up for that 71-yarder. What happened? Like somebody called a timeout or something, right?
Yeah, somebody told them, well, the wind started to change a little bit, and they were afraid of the Browns potentially trying to return it. Okay. But we've seen him in practice kick 71-yarders, and it's not a concern.
Are we looking at the under then of the 45.5 points with the picture we've painted here?
Okay. No, because the thing is the 49ers, even as banged up as they are on offense, I have a hard time not seeing them score 24, 27 points. And once you get into those kind of games, I do think there's some potential for the Cowboys to have a little bit of a backdoor cover. I think the over is going to hit pretty confidently.
Well, the Cowboys got to get more than 9. All right.
You would think they would this week. I mean, they kind of have to be better on offense than they were last week, right? They have to.
So we've kind of painted what those pictures might look like for a Cowboys or 49ers win, but what is the path? What does the Cowboys win look like?
Yeah, it's going to have to be their offense. And that's what was so disappointing about the Lions game. I think everybody going into that game knew the defense was going to struggle. We thought that the Cowboys offense needed to turn the game into a shootout. And their first 3 drives were field goal, red zone turnover, punt. If you do that against the 49ers, the game is going to be over, right? They need this offense to score 17 points in the first half of this game. Turn it into a shootout because you do have more weapons than the 49ers have right now. Make it a quarterback versus quarterback game because I do think there is a chance that the Cowboys could win that type of game. But if it's a game where Dallas is trying to play ball control and lean on the defense, they have no chance.
The 49ers have lost numerous games this year where they won time of possession too. So that path, even though I think that's the path Kyle Shanahan wants, he's going to want the under. He's going to want to carry the ball 40 times. I think there's going to be a run heavy scheme here, and they're going to force the Dallas Cowboys to make it prove they can stop that run. But the Niners haven't had a problem moving the ball down the field. It's when they get to the red zone, it's getting into the end zone. So that's a huge one for me, is the 49ers putting up 6s and potentially leaning on Brock Purdy with a young group of wide receivers to maybe use his legs around the red zone and take it in himself, or just, brute force, use that run game and hopefully be able to win the game on the ground. I think that's the way Kyle Shanahan would like to play this one, and then get some more guys healthy after the bye and have.
Do we think Jennings plays in this one?
Yeah, I thought the reports aren't good to start the week. I thought he might have had a chance this week, but it's really hard to tell right now. He's got to get in at least a limited practice. And then again, like, I don't know, pneumonia doesn't heal in a week, right?
No, so I talked to Kate Majuk on Lockdown Dynasty, who used to be in the medical field. She said for even top tier athletes, it's going to take them 3 to 4 weeks to have like full lung capacity again. I think Debo will probably play, but I'm sure Kyle Shanahan and that medical staff is going to be monitoring and limiting his snaps throughout the game.
And then, yeah, like I said, don't let it come down to special teams because that has not been the 49. Like, so this is what can't happen is you can't have, a Turpin return touchdown and then Brock Purdy not on the same page with his rookie wide receivers because he's big on anticipation. And if you're in the wrong place, he's going to let it go early before you break sometimes. And that can lead to some ugly interceptions. And he wasn't great last week. And so if it is a shootout, then that does absolutely bode well for the Dallas Cowboys. You don't want it to come down to special teams. And you don't want it to come down to rookie wide receivers, even though I think they're both very talented guys. I think Kyle Shanahan would prefer to lean on the running game in this one.
And everybody loves Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to be a good receiver. This is still a Sunday night football game against I don't want to call it that Cowboys a big time opponent, but it's a big time rivalry game, right? This is probably going to be one of the most watched games of the NFL season. And I think this is true for both teams. They have a lot of young players playing on both sides of the ball. Whichever one of those young players steps up and performs above expectations, that's probably going to be the team that ends up winning.
It doesn't matter who's out there. It's 49ers Cowboys. It's
Exactly.
prime time, Sunday night football. The crowd is going to be going crazy. Marcus, you and I could be out there on the field, and the fans are going to be hyped for it. And so I'm going to be hyped for it as well. I can't wait for this one. It's going to be a lot of fun.